All right, welcome back, Florida Football Insiders Podcast. We are now going to talk Florida State, Florida, USF, and a little Miami. And no better person to talk all these programs, ups and downs, disappointments, meltdowns, and everything in between. JP Peterson, host of the JP Peterson Show, Monday through Friday, 10 to 12 a.m., 12 noon Eastern Time on the FanStream Sports app and all of these social media spots. You can find JP at JP Peterson Show on X and Twitter. Welcome back, sir.
What's up, Jason? How you doing, buddy? I was chatting with an old colleague today, and we were talking about how long we've been covering college football. And for me, it started as a intern in 1985.
Wow.
1985, WTXL TV, Tallahassee.
Is that Danny McManus?
Danny McManus.
Danny
Danny
McManus.
McManus. By the way, my backup at South Broward High School, only because he was a sophomore and I was a senior.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Way
There you
back when.
go.
Yes. So yeah, that's how long 40 years I've been covering college football
That's
in the state of Florida. Dad gummit. Boy, that is a lot of football.
you
If
do
I
a
can
hell of
say.
a job doing it. All right, first thing I want to get to. You went to I
I'm
you
just
were
old.
in you look good, man. I've seen the pictures
Thank
of
you,
you
partner.
posing at the pool and all that. You
All
look
right.
good,
Well,
man.
I got a young wife that keeps me young, brother. You got to keep up. You got to keep up. Yes, I went to Ireland. I went to Ireland and had plenty of Guinness and not a very good football game, but it was a hell of an atmosphere. I'm glad I did it. It's history in
Yeah.
terms of the global game. I believe that's the first time any Florida team has played internationally, as far as
Yeah.
I can recall. It was an incredible scene. The stadium was really cool, and the walk from College Game Day, which was down at Trinity College, was about 25, 30 minutes through Dublin City on a beautiful fall day. It's temperatures in the 60s, and there's like little beautiful pubs all the way. It was like doing a pub crawl all the way from College Game Day to the stadium. And you walk into these gorgeous pubs, and there's FSU people everywhere, Georgia Tech people everywhere. The Irish people are just the most hospitable people in the world. It's such an amazing city through the architecture and the people and the pubs and the traditional music. And it was it was a special time, no question about it, just in terms of the atmosphere.
Right.
To me, college football is all about atmosphere, and the traditions. If we're going to keep anything, Lord, let's just keep that as far as college football goes. And I thought it was really, really cool. And next year, I think it's Iowa State and Kansas State.
Right.
So our good friend Scott Reynolds will be going over there and taking it in, and Rocco Becht and the Beck family will be taking it all in. So highly recommended if you get a chance to do that.
And probably the cool thing was the soccer stadium's only probably 50,000, so it's very
Yeah,
intimate and it's very
yeah.
tight. That probably makes
And I
it
tell
even
you what,
better.
that Seminole side was chopping their ass off, and it felt like a home game.
Yeah.
And there was points in the game in the fourth quarter where I think their Tech was like 3rd and 7 after FSU had gone the long drive, the 2 fourth downs to tie it up, and you're like, the chop is chopping. They get a penalty right
Right.
now because of the chop, and it's 3rd and 12 now. And what do we do? Give up another 3rd and long. They go down, drive 6 minutes, and score the winning. It's like if there was ever a moment for these young lads to pony up and get their backbone up in the middle of Ireland, that was it, and they failed miserably.
Well,
So
let's get to the on the field problems. Again,
yes,
you were there, you've been there. Obviously, we saw the second game at home against Boston College, an epic disaster at home on Labor Day night. DJ, the offensive and defensive lines. For you on the field, what's been the biggest issue?
oh God, where do we start? I mean, if you can't stop the run, I mean, 270 yards rushing. I mean, I don't even know what that is. I mean, that's just lack of heart, lack of courage, lack of detail, lack
By a
of,
defensive line touted to be the best in the country.
I mean, unbelievable. And I go back and watch the tape, and there's just gaping holes. Nobody can get off a block. They're out leveraged every single play through
Right.
motion and alignment. They're out of alignment. They're not getting off. They're not running to the ball. They're not making plays. Everybody's just, getting blocked and allowing themselves to be blocked. The two defensive tackles are playing way too high. Just it's simple. Nobody sets the edge on the defensive ends. Marvin Jones Jr. and Patrick Payton or 240-pound guys that don't play the run very well. And they're just getting exploited. The linebackers are slow and can't tackle. There's no adjustment to backs out of the backfield. They can't cover back out of the backfield. I mean, the lack of adjustments is mind-boggling. I don't. I just. It's. I've never.
And it's a
seen
veteran staff. That's the confounding part. The defensive staff's in place. Not like it's a new system.
Yeah, yeah. It's just so much of it is just confounding. Like what the hell is going on? And I saw Norvell's press conference this week, and he's like, "We're not making wholesale changes. We're just going to get them to play better." And I'm like, "Good luck with that." I mean, so defensively, I don't know what the answers are. These are supposed to be talented players, and they're not. And they're not talented, or they're not playing hard enough. They're not playing the right way. I would make wholesale changes. I'm not leaving Marvin Jones Jr., who's never put his hand in the ground, as a hand in the ground defensive end. I'll bring him in on passing situations, but he cannot play the run. Patrick Payton was great last year, but evidently there were a lot of guys around him that were making up for his errors. He can't set the edge. So I mean, I don't. The answers on defense for me are get new guys to play that are actually going to play hard, because those guys are not, or get the message through to them. Listen, if you think you're going to the pros with this tape,
good luck.
I got another thing coming. No way. Nobody's picking you, Patrick Payton. Right. And I'm sorry, not the way you're playing now. And all that goes for all of them across the front. Josh Farmer, Derek. I mean, all of them. It's awful. So I'm anxious to see what happens against Memphis. This is a very good offensive team. They're balanced. They've had a little trouble running the football, but they're balanced.
Yeah.
And unless FSU figures this out and starts playing defense the way they can play defense, they should be playing defense. I don't know what the answers are. Offensively, I mean, it starts with the quarterback. He's awful.
Did he just get over evaluated by the coaching staff? To me, that's a coaching staff evaluation error. He's never been great.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I thought if you're bringing him in, then you saw something in his development at Oregon State that said he's better and he'll be a good fit in our offense. I mean, that's not my job to go look at the Oregon State tape. I just said, I trust Norvell and the offensive coaches. And from what I've seen and from what I've heard from my guys that are watching practice, he never distanced himself from Brock Glenn in practice. So what do we see in the game? We see a lot of inaccuracies. We see a guy who cannot move.
No.
I mean, he is slower than Christmas. And if you can't move in this offense and there's no threat of an RPO, you're hurting the offensive line. You're hurting the running game. So, okay, he'll make up for it with his pinpoint accuracy as a passer.
He ain't accurate. He ain't ever been accurate.
And it's like, what's he giving you? What is he giving you?
Right.
To me, he's taken away a lot. And so for me, I would not start DJU. I would have been giving Brock Glenn all the reps in practice to get him ready to play, because he can move. He's a 4-star quarterback that chose FSU over Ohio State. Luke Kromenhoek is a 5-star drop back passer. So I wouldn't necessarily, a true freshman. So I wouldn't necessarily go to him. But I would absolutely go to Brock Glenn at this point. I don't think the team believes in DJU. He's showing no leadership whatsoever. Now, it's not all him. Don't get me wrong. It's not all him. But obviously, the quarterback is the most important part of this. The offensive line has been dog crap. We were told that was going to be a great unit. But I think a lot of their issues are because of DJU and the run game and his lack of mobility. Yes, Jordan Travis covered up a lot of the warts of this offensive line. There's no question about that. So get a quarterback in there that can move. He can't be a worse passer. He can't be worse than what we've seen. So I just don't see the upside in sticking with DJU, but it looks like Norvell is going to do so.
And that goes to my next question about decision-making. With Norvell so invested in the transfer portal, paying DJU whatever they're paying him, it's harder for these coaches to sit a guy down when there probably hasn't been much competition in fall camp, where the guy's making $1 million or $1.5 million or whatever he's making. Harder decision to do, because that's a bad sign you send to the rest of the country down the road. You think that's a part of the equation? I mean,
that's a much bigger conversation as far as your whole program concepts in terms of recruiting. I think Mike knew that he had to hit the portal hard to get this program back to winning again, which, A plus on that. 13-0 it was an amazing accomplishment. But we learned that, they nailed all those. The last 2 years, they've nailed almost every portal pick they've had. And this year they whiffed. They whiffed on Marvin Jones Jr., or they're not using him correctly. They whiffed on DJU and a bunch of others that they brought. Those two guards that they brought in from the SEC, Richie Leonard and
Right.
the other guy, Ferguson, I think his name is. They haven't been great. So I kind of feel like, well, let's go to the guys that you've recruited. You've got some good players. You got some 4 and 5 star players that are not playing, and I would go to them as soon as I possibly can. This season is lost. You're not winning any. You're not going to the playoffs this year. Mike should know that he has plenty of leash here. And he's not. If he goes, if they get 4 wins with Brock Glenn, then so be it. You're not getting fired. It's a rebuilding year. It was, we were sold that this was going to be a better team. It's not. Cut your losses in the off week and go forward with the young players. That's what I would have done. It doesn't appear to be what they're doing. So, they're going to go into this Memphis game as a 6.5-point favorite. Throw everything you have on Memphis. Because until I see it, I can't believe it. I'm not going to believe the hype anymore. I mean, why would you? It's been awful. And by the way, the Norvell 4th down call against Boston College, the first series of the third quarter, you're down 1 score. Your defense has just had 2 3-and-outs and a halftime break. You're 4th and 5.
Kick the field goal, bro.
I mean, well, no. I mean, you're at your own 43.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, right.
You're at your own 43 with the best punter in the college game,
right?
And you're just had 2 good defensive stands, and you go for it there with a drop back quarterback play that 4th and 5. You got to throw the football. They know you're going to throw the football, and you have a less than hot quarterback, and your passing game sucks. I mean, what part of that equation on 4th down says you should go for it? If you're just looking at analytics, analytics take into consideration that, you have a decent passing game.
Right.
I mean, this is where analytics need to go out the window. You got to look at the actual context of the game. Correct. And there's nothing in the context of the game that says you go for it there. And he throws a pick and essentially gives up a touchdown. And you go to a 3-score game. I mean, you just lost the game for your team. And with an absolutely egregious 4th down call, it's a complete panic move. Yep. And I mean, there's just I don't even know what to say about that. But again, I think Mike's a good coach. I think he's built a great culture. Coaches make mistakes. He's made a bunch of them in a row now. He needs to right the ship, and that starts this week. Like, get a win this week. You got 3 winnable games coming up, and then the real shit hits the fan.
Right.
And it could get ugly. And that's all the more reason for me, you get Brock ready, because as slow as DJU is, he's going to get destroyed by Miami. These good Clemson's defense. Oh my God.
Yep. Notre Dame's got a good defense.
I mean, you got to give yourself a fighting chance with a mobile quarterback and get him ready to play for the gauntlet. That's what I would do. But I don't. It doesn't seem like that's the plan. So we'll see what happens.
All right, let's slide over to Gainesville. Obviously, even more drama going on there with Napier's future. Now you have a little bit of a potential quarterback controversy. Lagway plays good against an inferior opponent. Mertz is probably ready to play, but will he get the start with A&M coming to town? Just give me a thought or two about the Gator program through 2 weeks.
I never thought I'd say that I think the Gators are a better football team than FSU, but from what I've seen in the first 2 weeks, even though Florida got blown out by Miami, I mean, it's just that bad in Tallahassee. And it can change year to year now with the portal, right? You can be so good and you can get really bad. But Florida, I think, is an interesting situation, but somewhat similar to FSU. You're not going anywhere this year. This should be a year of learning and growing the best quarterback that you've picked up since Tebow, right? I mean, DJ Lagway is a Gatorade National Player of the Year. And as Jesse Palmer said in week 1, when he came in for Mertz, it just looks different. The ball comes out different. It spins different. It's just different. Graham Mertz is a very serviceable, experienced quarterback.
He's Gardner Minshew. Graham Mertz is Gardner Minshew.
but you know, what are you selling if in terms of hope? If
Right.
Billy Napier thinks that, listen, I'll go with Graham Mertz and maybe I'll squeak out 5 and 6 wins and I'll keep my job. That's not working for the program.
I don't
I
think
would
so.
rather, you know, if I'm the AD, I say, look, man, you know, go with Lagway unless you think that your offensive line is so bad that he's going to lose confidence and get beat up by A&M, which I don't think is the case. I don't think they're that bad, and I don't think A&M's that good.
Right.
So I would stick with Lagway and just, you know, he's the future of your program, and if you want to keep him in Gainesville, if you are going to fire
That's right.
Sunbelt
You
Billy,
better play them.
then you better play him and let him get some you know, some chemistry going with Trey Wilson and some of the other skill position players. And you know, who knows? Maybe they, you know, he goes out and beats A&M, you know, at home. Stranger things have happened. My God, I mean, the Swamp is still a tough place to play. And you know, you get some things right that you didn't get right against Miami. You had a couple of really bad penalties that kind of took you out of the game
Yep.
and kept your crowd from getting into the game and putting any pressure on Miami. So yeah, and he wins that game. He wins an SEC game, and now all of a sudden you're like, well, okay, you know, we could maybe do so. I would rather win 4 with DJ than win 5 or 6 with Mertz. I mean, that makes sense to me if I'm building a program for the future, and I think it's a better chance for him to keep his job. To be quite
And if
honest.
yeah, and again for me, if Florida goes 5-7, but they're competitive in their losses with
Yeah,
Lagway playing and developing,
exactly.
then
Yes.
you can sell. Hey, Napier's getting it going a little bit. Another year with Lagway, but if you go get beat by 3-4 touchdowns in a couple of these SEC games, it's lights out. That fan base, and you know it. Those boosters, they're ready to write the check to get him the hell out of there.
Yeah. And if you lose by 3 or 4 touchdowns with DJ Lag when he makes mistakes, at least you can sell hope. You
Right.
know, he's learning on the job. He's learning. I mean, if you don't play him much this year and Mertz, you know, wins 5 or 6 or 4 or whatever,
Right.
and then you're right back to the starting block. You lose a year of experience that he could
Right.
have in the SEC. And frankly, I think by the look to win games the way Florida wants to win games, you got to have an exceptional player at the quarterback position. Graham Mertz is not an exceptional player. He's a good player. DJ Lagway can be an exceptional player. He can be a difference maker.
Right.
So get him going. I mean, Lord, he's 6'4", 239 pounds. My God, he
Looks like
runs.
Dante Culpepper.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing here?
Right.
I don't think this is a hard choice for either coach, to be quite honest. I don't. And I don't see what they're doing or why they're doing it.
Yeah,
I'm
and
guessing.
again, what is the kind of coach? You know, we've seen the flamboyancy of Spurrier and some other in Urban Meyer. Is that the kind of coach Florida needs? Just a I don't give a shit, flamboyant kind of guy.
Well,
Where or what's the remedy? What are they missing in Gainesville the last 10 years?
well, we certainly know Urban Meyer is campaigning for the job. Did you see that evisceration of Billy Napier that he did on some podcast? I mean, he's like it was bad. I've never seen a sitting analyst and former coach attack a present coach the
Yeah.
way he did, especially one that's at his alma mater. It's another classless move by Urban Meyer, but would you expect anything less? I mean, would Florida sell their soul to
Oh
go
my
back
God.
to that guy? I mean, I know it's desperate, but if I think you make that choice,
Wow.
wow,
I agree.
I can't see it. But maybe they will. But you know, Billy, I think he's done a good job recruiting. I think he's made some necessary changes that he needed to make in the offseason, but it's kind of like you say, man, he doesn't fit it. He just doesn't feel like he's an exceptional coach. He doesn't. I don't get the fire. I mean, he couldn't even beat a bottle of water. I mean, the water got
Press conference.
the water got the best of it. It's like I know that's just silly, but it's just so apropos. It's
Yeah,
like
man.
I can't even take a right.
Oh my
Like
God.
you're just not the guy. You're just not the dynamic guy that Florida needs.
Yeah.
Just not. So
Interesting. Interesting. All right, let's get down to Coral Gables. Got me the most dynamic. Again, why Cam Ward maybe wasn't in the mix at Florida State?
oh, he
We don't know.
was. They
I
wanted
mean,
him.
I
They wanted
mean,
him. They wanted him over DJU. And from what I've heard, he wanted over $1 million, and FSU didn't want to pay the money or he couldn't pay the money. It was out of their budget at that point. I don't know. I know that their first choice was Cam Ward.
Yeah.
And I think they settled for DJU. And when Cam said he was going to go pro, they kind of panicked and
Right.
went the DJU route. But anyway, we talked about that situation. Cam Ward is the best quarterback in Florida. I think that's in the college ranks.
For sure.
Because Baker's bacon.
We're going to get to that too.
Yeah. He was fantastic. I mean, he was that first play in the first quarter when he scrambled out and ran to the sideline and then just kind of sashayed, sauntered out of bounds. And the two Gators didn't even like hit him. I mean, he was still if he's in bounds, take your shot.
That's right.
Like, take your shot.
Right.
And he just kind of walked and stopped. And I went, did the whistle blow? Like, what the hell was that? And then he did it again. I'm like, this dude is like the coolest dude I've ever seen. Like, what is this? And he just he looks so good back there, so under control. The way he moves with purpose to extend the play and then make the throw.
And they've got a good offensive line to help them and some skill guys. I mean, they've got a chance here. Their schedule is very doable. You look at Clemson on the schedule. You get Florida State at Miami. I mean, their schedule, they ought to go 11-1 at the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're not 11-1.
I have faith in Cristobal that he'll screw it up somehow. I mean, the history tells us he's going to F it up somehow. So, but I think even with 2 losses as the ACC champion, you can get. And I don't see 2 losses on their schedule. I'm with you as well. I mean, Florida State's not beating them. No way. Unless something drastically changes. So, I think Miami's going to be the class. I tell you what game's going to be interesting. And you know what I'm saying. That game at Raymond James Stadium.
Yes, we're going to get to that. Yes, next week.
That's going to be an interesting game. Yes.
No doubt. No doubt.
So I love Miami's players. They're finally, maybe their talent they finally put it all together because they have a quarterback. So we'll see. I think, until they do it on a long, consistent basis and don't choke like they always have done in the last 20 years, then, but I'd lean towards Miami being the ACC champ at this point.
All right, let's go. Let's get back down here to Tampa here. Again, you mentioned it. USF, again, played Alabama close again 2 years in a row. Again, they played Alabama's full complement of players this year. There was no Milrose sitting out. Give Alex Golish all the credit. That was a 14-13 game, basically with 10 minutes to go. Just give me a general thought about Golish. You like where he's going with this program, how he's building it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He's done a fantastic job. That was no fluke, because Milroe didn't play last year. It was a hot day and
monsoon, weather delay.
That was a weird game. So you kind of could say it was a little bit of a fluky thing, but evidently it wasn't because this game, those Alabama fans were all full quiet. They were nervous. And that's because USF was taking it to them defensively. I mean, that to me was the biggest shock.
Yes.
They shut down their run game. And for the most part, except Milroe, they were phenomenal. I mean, they got a couple of big fumbles and turnovers, but hey, they caused them. Good on them. And then they're 21-13, and they're at the 4-yard line. USF kicks a field goal.
Right,
Jason, what are we doing? I mean, the most confident coach in America is at Tuscaloosa with 6-7 minutes left in the game. You're at the 4-yard line, 1 score down.
Yeah.
And you kick a field goal, bro?
Yeah. I got you.
You still need another touchdown to win at that point.
I got you.
What are we doing? What are we doing? I mean, I hate to criticize the guy, and then he doubled down on it in the press conference. I'm like, but whatever.
Last year he went for it every time on 4th down against Alabama. Every time.
How are you not at the 4-yard line?
Right.
With that quarterback, the way he can run?
Right.
I'll take my chances.
My one concern is running Byron Brown too much. They ran him to death, and that's
And I think that affected his accuracy too.
Yep.
I think he may have taken one too many hits, if you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
And he was just, that's not the thrower that we've seen. We've not seen it. He was very inaccurate. I was shocked by that, but I think it may have been because he took some hits. Either physically he was hurting in his arm or shoulder or torso or something. Or he was maybe a little cuckoo. I don't know, but that wasn't him.
He's the second best quarterback in the state of Florida.
I would agree with that. And Listen, I think they got a legitimate shot at beating Miami. I really, really do. So, and I think that may be the toughest game on their schedule because it's in, obviously it's not at home. So yeah, circle that one, get your tickets and your popcorn ready. But USF should win 9 games. They should win 9 games this year.
There is a manageable path to the playoff as the Group of Five representative. You beat Miami and maybe lose one conference game, if not run the table. You're going to be in the playoff as the 12th
You're in.
seed.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
And if you haven't figured out, USF fans, that game has been moved to 7 o'clock prime time on the 21st. So it's going to be a night game, Raymond James Stadium. That place is going to be jumping. I'm sure that game will be. It better be a sellout. If that game ain't a sellout, shame on USF fans.
Oh my God, yes, yeah, because Miami's going to bring. They'll bring plenty. Yeah.
Shame on them. Shame on them. All right, give me all right, listen to JP Peterson, host of the JP Peterson Show, FanStream Sports. We're breaking down the college football in the state of Florida. I'm going to ask you a couple NFL things too about the state team.
Sure, let's get it.
Let's stay here in state of Florida. What a performance by that Buccaneer offense. Liam Cohen, Baker Mayfield. I don't think I've seen that. I think that was the best game of Baker Mayfield's career personally.
I'll take the Packers game last year, and maybe even the Philadelphia game, but it was good. It was really good. I'm considering the opponent, right?
Yeah. But the confidence he showed running that offense was tremendous.
I just got through the first half, rewatching the game and the tape, and I counted 5 escapes from Baker, sure sacks situations where he escaped and made plays. I mean, 5 of them in one half.
Yeah.
He does not get credit for his elusiveness.
Yep.
He does not get credit for his ability to make plays on the run, which, as you know, in this league is so often the difference between winning and losing. You go
2
back
or 3 times a game, you got to run for that first down on 3rd and 4.
We'll go look at Patrick Mahomes' big plays in the Super Bowl and playoffs. Almost every one of them is an off-schedule play where he makes something out of nothing. And Baker's done a really, really good job of it. And he's playing from the pocket really, really well.
Right.
And this Liam Cohen offense, I asked Baker after the game, I said, you've said that you got a lot of opportunities at the line of scrimmage to change plays and get into better plays. How many times did you do it? And he said, honestly, not much. He said, Liam called such a good game that everything he called, we didn't need to check against the defense, which is a great sign. And he's so much better than Dave Canales.
Yeah.
We love Dave. He's a nice dude, but he was over his skis last year. This guy knows what he's doing. He's got so much talent to work with. And I'm telling you, and the big thing is Graham freaking Barton. Don't look at his PFF grade, by the way, which was ridiculous. He played tremendous football. I retweeted the Baldy breakdown that he did of Graham Barton. And this kid, from the moment I saw him on the practice field, I said, this dude is special. He is quick. He is athletic. His technique is flawless.
Yep.
He played against 2 of the best tackles in the NFL, and he more than held his own. And Bobby Wagner as well. He's out, reach blocking on Bobby Wagner on outside runs. He's really good. And Hainsey last year was really bad. So you get a marked improvement on the interior of your line. That's why the running game was so much better. They rushed for 112 yards, and I think the numbers, and they could have been so much better. They had some bad negative plays.
They did.
And Rachaad White, I think, lost 15 yards on 3 plays that he had no chance.
Yeah.
So I think Rachaad White ran it well, although the numbers might not show it. But
Bucky Irving's going to be a player.
He is, at 6.9 yards per carry. Are you kidding me?
That's to me, that's 2024 work done.
Yeah.
Almost.
I mean, he's got vision and he's got a burst. I mean, you go back and look at the tape and he's making every right decision.
Yeah.
He's really, really good, and they complement each other really well.
Yeah.
And this receiving group, my God, Jason, dude, let me throw to these guys. Are you kidding me? I mean, Evans is still playing at just an elite level. You go one-on-one with him, he's just throwing it up and he's coming down with it. 2 touchdowns for him. Chris Godwin, I mean, they've got him on 3rd down lockdown. He is, and Baker knows, and Liam's got him, in motion.
Cooper Kupp, man. It's Cooper Kupp of Los Angeles.
It's so good, and he's so perfect at it. He catches everything you throw to him. 8 targets, 8 catches, 7 of them for first downs or touchdowns. I mean, that makes your offense go. And then Jalen McMillan should have had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, right.
Had 4.
Right.
Baker missed them on the first one. He had one down the middle where he grabbed his face mask. He had 2 yards on him.
Yep.
That was going to be another touchdown.
Yep.
The one on the right sideline that he dropped, and then the one he caught. He could
Yep.
have had 4 touchdowns.
Yep.
I'm telling you, the Bucks left at least 17 points on the field, and they scored 37.
Right.
I mean, I thought this offense was going to be good. I didn't think it would be this good.
This early. This soon.
This early. Yeah. So couldn't be more impressed with that whole group. And then defensively, they're in trouble right now. They're down 4 corners injury wise, 3 corners.
Yeah. Safety, Antoine out.
Antoine went down, which is we don't know what the injury is. Is it a break? Is it a high ankle?
Right.
Is it 2 weeks? Is it 4 weeks? We don't know. That's a big injury. That's a huge injury. Now this week you're going to Detroit. It's not a game you thought you were going to win anyway. So I'm not, it is what it is. Go up there. If you can outscore them. That's something they could do.
Right.
The Lions defense looked a little vulnerable the other night against the Rams. So, but again, it wasn't one you thought you were going to win, but you got to come back and get the next 2.
Yeah.
And if Winfield doesn't play, that's going to be tough. And Cansey with the damn calf injury, same calf. I'm worried about that. So defensively, I think they've got some injuries that they need to overcome. That's going to be tough. So right now, those are my concerns. And
play the over.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. What is it? Have you seen it yet?
I haven't, but that'll be a high scoring game potentially in Detroit.
Yeah. By the way, we give out our prop bets every Thursday on my show, and I gave out 7 prop bets for Buccaneer players.
Yeah.
Nailed every single one of them. 7 for 7 because I had Bucky over, McMillan over, receiving and rushing for Bucky. What else? We had Baker touchdown passes, Godwin over. I mean, these were easy to me. I mean, easy.
Yep.
So we'll look at this one this week and give you some more Buck players, because the great thing about the Bucks is they're so underrated. Even Vegas underrates them.
They are.
But they underrate. I mean, for the whole season,
everybody's sucking on Atlanta. Everybody this, that.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy money. Easy.
All right. Give me a thought on the Jaguars. Is Trevor Lawrence ever going to figure this out, man? Or is this guy just 2 steps forward, 2 steps back?
Is it him? Is it the organization? Whatever it is, you can't lose that game.
No.
You cannot lose. I mean, he didn't fumble at the 2-yard line running in. That wasn't Trevor Lawrence. But I mean, you got to find a way to win that game. I mean, that and a lot of times it does fall on the quarterback, I didn't get a chance to watch the whole game, but I saw bits and pieces of it and the highlights and what have you, and it's just, I don't know what it is about Jacksonville. They just don't win games, and a lot of times that's on the quarterback. You got to make the plays to win games.
Yep.
And I mean, how do you not pay him?
Yeah.
But at some point he has to start earning that cash, because he's just not, him and Justin Herbert. The 2 of them to me are it's just supremely talented.
Yeah.
But they just can't win squat. They win squat.
They
and that
do.
Jacksonville roster is good.
They are.
It's good.
They do.
That's a game you got to win. It's a game you got to win. Yeah.
Last thing. Give me a thought on the Tyreek Hill situation. Obviously, you saw the video come out. You can make arguments on both sides about, police officer too aggressive, Tyreek not listening and just being a jerk in the car. Give me a quick thought there.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. There's plenty of blame to go around here. The biggest blame, of course, is the media, mostly at ESPN, who are going to turn this into something that it is not. And kudos to Tyreek, who said, listen, I'm not going to play the race card and go crazy with this. He said that right after the game. He said, we're going to make this into a positive.
Yeah.
We're not going to, so let nobody go crazy. You would wish the people at ESPN could do something like that, but they can't. They make too much money on the race baiting, so they have to do it, I guess. The upper agenda people have to have that. So anyway, I think first of all, I was taught you get pulled over. Yes, sir. No, sir.
Roll the window down. Roll the window down. When he tells you.
Yes, sir. No, sir. Every command that they give you, you follow.
Yes.
Believe it or not, I'm not saying most times, but you can talk your way out of it if you're really and cooperative, especially if you're Tyreek Hill. I mean, if your first thing is don't knock on my window, don't knock on my window, don't knock on my window. I mean, if that's where your first, and
you have tinted windows at that,
and you have and you roll it up. and then when they tell you to get out of the car, you don't get out of the car. What the
Right.
hell do you think is going to happen?
Right.
You know, and the people that are defending this, you know, without looking at both, was the cop overzealous? I mean, can we de-escalate it a little bit? Do we have to yank him out
Right.
of the car?
And pin him. We don't need to pin him on the ground and
don't need to pin him on the ground. It's
Right.
like, we know it's Tyreek Hill. He's not coming out shooting, I don't think, you know.
Right.
But as a cop, I understand the protocols. I understand. I've talked to cops about this, you know, and and a lot of times they can't do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Tricky situation. Hopefully, again, you would think a block from the stadium, there'd be some awareness of, okay, he probably was screwing around. If you're going to write him a ticket and get him out of there. Or, hey, bro, don't be doing that crap again, man, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can't let a guy roll up the window because you don't know what's going on in the car. It's your safety, and that just can't happen.
And that's where Tyreek needs to come out and say, you know what, I screwed that up. I should have done better on that.
Yeah. Just do it. Just do what the cop says, and 99% of the time you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
You know? So it's an unfortunate situation, but I hope it doesn't get crazy.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, the cop should not be fired.
No, I'm with you. JP Peterson, great job, man. Tell everybody where they can find you online and where they can find the show every day.
Yeah, we're live 10 to 12 each and every day on fanstreamsports.com, on YouTube, on Facebook, on X. Just go to any of our social medias. You can get the show live right there. Please like and subscribe to the JP Peterson Show on YouTube, and my Twitter at the JP Peterson Show. Thanks,
great
Jason.
content.
Yeah, with you, man. Anytime.
Yeah, he does great work. He does post game at the Bucks game, USF game, so check that out as well. He's also going to be back
at the Lightning.
I was going to say the Lightning season starts in about a month.
Right.
He'll be back at Amalie Arena, in-game entertainment, host, all the good stuff. He does a great job with the Lightning as well. So can we get them back on track, please?
Yes, I think they'll be fine. All
right, buddy. Appreciate the time, sir, and we will talk. So maybe I'll see you at the Miami in the press box for Miami West South.
Yes, you will. We'll see you there.
You got it, buddy.